Hello, welcome to another episode of the Blue Mountain Makes podcast. I'm Mary Lynn, coming to you, as always, from the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. This has been a very warm week, but the humidity has dropped and the weather is gorgeous, so this is going to be a quick little catch-up before I head myself outside to have a glass of wine after a long day. So, I don't have a whole lot to share this week. I only have one finished object. I have 2 works in progress and a handful of hand-dyed / hand-spun yarn that I'll share with you if you're interested at the very end. So, let's hop in. First and foremost, technically, yes, it's a whip, but it's like an old whip. I've already talked about this in another podcast, but ta-da, today is release day for the Hunt Hand Knits. Her name is Mary. I always want to throw Mary in there somewhere, but that is not in her Instagram handle. It's Hunt Hand Knits. This is the Patchwork Peaks cowl. Today is Friday the 18th. This probably won't come out until Saturday the 19th, but today's release day. So I'm sure you'll be seeing this all over Instagram. It is absolutely stunning and gorgeous, so if you've had your eye on it, go get it. It's lovely. It takes 2 skeins, 2 colors of DK weight yarn. I think I knit it on a size 5. I don't have my notes in front of me, but it's super simple, very quick, beautiful, fun floats, in case you're interested in the float game. Yeah, so, like I said, if you're interested, head on over to, I think she has it on Etsy and Ravelry, so, quick plug. That doesn't count as a finished object, though, technically. So my only finished object this week is my Camisole Number 4 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. Mama! Yay! I knit this in Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. I used 2 balls. This is the size 2 knit on US 4 needles. So basically, this is my second one. My first one I actually have with me. Basically, my thought process with these are I bought 2 balls of the Knitting for Olive. That's all I've got. I'm not going back to the store. So whatever length I get out of it is whatever length I get. It is a top-down pattern. So the way that this is constructed is you do your front triangle, your next front triangle, knit these 2 together for, a wee amount, and then you do your back 2 triangles, and then you knit it in the round until you run out of yarn. So last year when I made it, I did the exact same thing, size 4, 2 balls. I did this size 3, and this is very well worn. I wear it a lot in the summer. She's a lot bigger. I find that because it's a broken rib pattern, it grows horizontally quite a bit, so I'm glad I went down a size, but I'll show you the difference. Just in going down one size, same amount of material and everything, I did get a lot more length out of it. Show you that, kind of. Good luck, right? So they're both hanging on the same arm, and I got, that much extra. Which doesn't seem like a lot, but it is a lot when you're wearing it. Other things, the only other thing I changed about this pattern is the straps. So the original calls for an I-cord, just fine, whatever. Come on, focus. I found that it grew a lot, so when I cast off to the size, the length that I wanted it to be, and then as I wore it, it just got longer and longer and longer, and I actually I was just tying knots in it and having this little loop hanging off my shoulder, but I finally did cut the end and unravel quite a bit of it. I think it took out 1.5 inches, 2 inches maybe, because it just stretches so much. And they're still a little bit long, but I think it might not be so much that it's long as it is just oversized all over. So, excuse my stomach growling. I'm ready for a snack. Anyways, I would think this is more of a nighttime. I wear this to bed a lot, or, around the house, because it is large. It's not very long. It's not the most flattering thing in the world. So I changed the straps for my new one, because I wanted it to cover some of my bra strap, because I always wear a bra. I'm not going to go out without one. It's like a security blanket, So this one, instead of an I-cord or a round I-cord, I did a flat I-cord. So I increased the number of stitches at the top of the triangle to 6, and then I did knit one, slip one with yarn in front, knit one, slip one with yarn in front, across. And you just do that until you get to the end. And they're very short because I know it's going to stretch. So right now it sits pretty far up on me. And it doesn't cover my whole bra strap, obviously. But I felt like if I went any thicker, that it would really overpower. It's a very delicate kind of top, I think. I'm wearing green on green. It's a good color on me. Yeah, so not a lot to say about it. If you've seen the pattern once, you've seen it a bunch of times. But it is a good pattern, and it does knit up very quick. It is very... the knitting for all of yarn is beautiful, and it wears beautifully, and it feels great when it's finished, but I don't like working with it. It is so splitty. It drives me crazy. Binding this thing off, I had to stop. It was bedtime-ish. I was like, I'm just going to finish it before I go to sleep, and it's going to be great. And I got so angry. I was like, I can't, because I'm going to be so wound up, I'm not going to sleep. So I had to just put it down about halfway through. Oh, and the other fun thing, I did not do a stretchy bind off on my original one. My stomach is growling. Oh my gosh. Anyways, and I can tell when I take it off and put it on, that it's, the hem's not stretching as much as the rest of the top is. So I did do Jenny's stretchy bind off on this one, except I got probably to kind of like 80% of the way through and realized I was running out of yarn and I was not going to make it. So I ripped out a row and did it again, and I was still running out of yarn. And of course, like I said, I was so irritated at this point. Even the next day, I was like, whatever. So I did the stretchy bind off until here, and then all of this is just regular. When I say I played yarn chicken, y'all, that's it. That's all that was left. This is not like after I cut it. That was it. Trying to get that last, it's like, you can do it. Whew. I won yarn chicken, but at what cost? You really can't tell. And talk about stretchy. I also blocked this on the clothesline, and I know you're not supposed to do that, but it was really sunny and nice, and I really wanted it to dry fast, so I pinned it up, but now I have one little random lump. So I need to just work that out. I know better. But it smelled so nice like sunshine when I took it off the line. But yep, so that's my one and only finished object. If you watched the last 3 podcasts, I've been working on a Velocore tee by Andrea Mowry, and I finally gave up on it. It's the second time I've tried to knit that pattern. I think I just need to accept that it's not for me. It sounds like it's something really simple, but I find that I look at something that has been designed by somebody, and when you're a designer, you're designing something for yourself. I would think that you're making something that you would want to wear. And she has such a different style and a different body type from me that I see stuff on her and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so cute. I want to wear that and look cute and be cute, just like her. But it's just not always flattering. So it was an oversized pattern, and it was an oversized just square box, basically. It was a drop shoulder top. And I did high contrast stripes. I didn't like it. I knit the whole body of that thing. It's not it's not a quick knit. It's not a hard knit, but it's not a quick knit. So I put a lot of time into it, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to wear it. And I had 2 of my hand spun skeins in it that I felt like were going to be a waste. So I am still in the process of ripping it out, because as much of a pain as it was for me to knit it, it's equally painful to rip it back out. So it's still sitting on my dining room table. Oh well. Yeah, so that's dead and gone. I think I'm going to give up on that. I'll probably try it again next year. Who knows? One day I'll let it go. But yeah, so that's gone. That's one whip gone. My other whip is also Andrea Mowry in my handy dandy rolly cart. Sorry if it makes horrible clanking noises. It just seemed simpler, just roll it up, roll it away. Also, I bought it from IKEA, I'm going to use it all the time. And I never use it, so now I have to use it. Anyways, I am participating in the current Spin It to Knit It Spin It to Knit It Attune, I think is the hashtag for it. Andrea Mowry, the Attune shawl. I spun both of my yarns that I am using. This is a Polworth 2-ply fingering weight, and this is Merino. It's Malabrigo Noob. It was a nightmare to spin, but beautiful in its final form. Really trying to talk myself out of buying more of this because I know it's going to be horrible to spin, but it's so pretty. Killing me slowly. So I've not made a whole lot of progress with this, but I have officially switched to a larger cord, so we're making some progress. So this side is brioche, and this side I don't know technically what it's called. There's like a row of regular knitting, and then you have to like knit below for some of it, and it's a paid for pattern, so like I don't want to give it all away, but it makes a really stretchy, squishy, plush fabric, and both of these yarns are so soft. It's like, I mean, it's a dream. If I could just wrap myself up in this all the time, I would be so happy. So I don't know how big I can go. She kind of just says like, go until you don't want to go anymore. So you have the first section is this, and then the border, it's a very chunky border. It looks like just garter stitches, but there is some purling in there, and I'm like, oh crap, because it's so many stitches. It's going to take a while because I'm not a fast purler, but it's going to be great. It's great practice, right? Sure. But anyways, she basically says go until you run out of yarn or until you get to the size you want to get to. So the only thing I'm concerned about is the size difference in these two skeins. They should weigh the same. And I would think, if anything, this one would be finer, like a weight-wise, than this. But clearly I'm wrong, or I weighed it wrong, or something. I actually didn't weigh this one. I just assumed it was 100 grams because it's commercial. And this came from Hearthside Fibers on Etsy. It's a great plug. They have great fiber if you are a spinner. Anyways, but I'm worried I'm going to run out of this. So I have another skein of this, but it's going to be, my second skein of this is very different color. It's supposed to be the same colorway. But anyways, I think they'll end up fading together okay. But yeah, like they're both chunky boys. So I'm a little worried about running out of the white. If worse comes to worse, then I just used the one color for, actually I don't think that would, well, I could make it work if I had to, but I want it to be a big shawl because I have a Cinnabar shawl that is similarly constructed, and I wear the thing all the time, and it's huge, and I love it, and I want it to be that size. So I also know it's going to block out a lot bigger too, so I'm trying to keep all these things in mind as I'm going. And it's going to be fine once I switch to the second section, because then you just stop whenever you run out of yarn. But I'm worried that I will start too soon or not soon enough. Not that I couldn't rip it out, but So that's that. This is the color transition, which is gorgeous. I love it. Right now it's looking kind of like the blues make me think of like the beach kind of, and then I'm not much of a purple person generally, which of course was funny when I got this in the mail. I was like, it's all purple. I spun this one first because this is much more like up my alley colorway wise, but I think that the lighter colors play better with the white, especially in this section, so it's gonna work out. Yeah, I need to work on this because I think there's only a month left in the cow. Oopsies. I'll work on it some more. It'll be great. It's gonna be great. I'm totally gonna finish in time. Not that it matters if I don't, but I'd like to. Ugh. Don't know if I said size 4 needles for that. Size 4 needles. Okay, and then the last work in progress I have is a brand new one. I've not shared it. I just cast it on the other day. This is the Art Nueva, I think. Unwind Knitwear, I do know that. And I do know it's Art, A-R-T-E. But it is a top-down, what do I drip stitch? Top-down raglan construction t-shirt that has raglan, it's not really, I guess it is, I don't know if it is technically raglan now that I've said those words. Maybe it's actually technically round. Yeah, it'd have to be round because it's not the typical scratch that. Yeah. The whole point of this is it's a very simple construction at the top, and then there's color work at the bottom around before you get to the hem. But on the neck, so you start your ribbing, and then from your ribbing down your shoulders, you have this like really cool, camera's not going to pick it up very well, kind of like textured triangle thing. So it starts up here and goes all the way down to the edge of your hem for your sleeves. It was kind of like a little bit of interest, but your increases are on those sides. So it's around that motif. So yeah, I guess it's not technically a raglan. Oops. Anyways, I am knitting this on, I'm knitting the size 3. I used size 1.5 for the ribbing. And then this is size US 3 for the whole body, which I do a lot of stuff on 4s. And I keep being like, this is as small as I'm going to go. I made the birch pullover on 2s last year. I'm going to make the Stria cardigan on 2s soon. This is 3s. Pretty soon I'm just going to be using like just real needles, like sewing needles. Yeah, I'm making a sweater. It'll take me 10 years. This is actually coming along pretty quick because it is just straight knitting except for those little motifs. And then once you put the, you split for the body, it's just knitting in the round. It's going to be great. I'm going to knock this sucker out. I think I might take this to Rhinebeck depending on fit and how I like the design at the bottom. My contrast color, not super exciting. This is leftover from my birch pullover from last year. These are both Drops Flora. Drops is having another sale. Drops is always having a sale, but Drops is having a sale on the alpaca blend yarn, and that's what I like. I'm really waiting for the 100% alpaca and the Lima to go on sale, and then I'm going to go nuts, and it's going to be bad. That is like, that's my stash, is basically solid Drops yarns, and then I take either my hand spun or like a special skein of color for the color work. That I think is how I'm going to proceed for the future. So on that vein, I bought these 2 colors of Drops Flora, my Drops purchases. And I do have patterns in mind for both of these. One of them is going to be a Dala sweater. I can't remember who makes that, but it's been in my queue for a long time and I'm very excited about it. And I don't remember what the other one was, but there was a plan. I don't know. These are like a light fingering weight yarns. I've made 2 sweaters out of these and I love them both because it is very lightweight but still very warm. They do pill a little bit. I have shaved them, but the price point, like, it's so worth it. So I love these. Yeah. So those are my works in progress. So this is a good transition point to talk a little bit about my hand spun, because when I bought these, I knew that I had some fancy hand spun that I wanted to pair it with. So one of these will be paired with this, which I don't remember if I showed last time or not, but this is a merino bamboo, also from Hearthside Fibers. It's very soft. My first time spinning a non-protein fiber. I didn't really notice any difference. It was very fun, but it will be paired with one of these 2 colors, and I'm kind of leaning towards this one. I don't know though. I'll have to swatch. I just don't know. But the other skein that I finished recently is this one, and that is stunning. And that, I think, I don't know that I have any specific plans for this one yet. This was the only fiber I bought last year at Rhinebeck because I bought my spinning wheel while I was there. So that kind of was like, I broke the bank. So this is literally the only other thing I bought was this braid. I can't remember who dyed this, but it's in my notes, so I will look it up. But this was the Rhinebeck 2022 colorway, so I kind of felt like, oh, I have to have that. And it's really pretty. I don't generally lean towards oranges, like, at all. Like, even this is a little too orangey red for me. It makes me think of Big Red chewing gum, like the taste of it, this. Which is a weird thing to say, but it's true. But anyway, so I don't necessarily know what I'm going to do with this. It's merino. It's another 2-ply fingering weight, because apparently that's all I spin. I don't know. I have some fiber that I bought in Maryland at the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival, because, you know, I'm lecturing myself like, you just keep buying more fiber, you need to spin it all down, but then, you know, now I have all this yarn and I don't know what I'm going to do with it. So there is a blue and a pink solid dyed merino that I bought up in Maryland, and I think I'm going to use that for the golden hour shawl by Andrea Mowry, because I just bought that pattern during her birthday sale. So we'll see. That it's a worsted weight pattern, and I do not do well trying to spin thicker yarns. I just defaulted to teeny tiny. So we'll see. I was all supposed to have my matchless by now. I ordered a shocked matchless wheel in June. It's mid-August. She ain't here. It was supposed to ship last Tuesday, and I waited a week, and then was like, did I just miss the shipping notification? It's just going to magically show up on my door one day, and it's going to be really exciting. And the lady's like, actually, no, I checked, and they're missing a part. Like, crap. So at least another 2 weeks on that, which is so sad. But anyways, so if you saw last time, I briefly mentioned that I had a dye class that I was taking at my local yarn store. So that was 2 Sundays ago, this Sunday. And it was a lot of fun. It was a very small class. It was like 6 of us, and the store's closed on Sunday, so they opened it up just for us. So very quiet, intimate kind of thing. The thing that I didn't love about it was that no fault of anybody's at all, but I wanted to learn about immersion dyeing, or partial immersion, I think is what she called it. You see it all the time on Instagram, like Arcane Fibers, for example. He takes his yarns and lays them out in the steamer pans, and then he pours the dye on it, and it just kind of simmers in its own juices and sets the dye, and then you take it out, and it's this gorgeous thing. So I have a steamer pan. I have dyed stuff I had like miniature ones. They weren't great. You can't really like lay the whole skein out. So anyways, I ended up buying a bigger one. But I have dyed some things. I've had some success and some horrific failure. So what I wanted was to go in there and say, what's the math behind it? What is the dye to water to vinegar to wool ratio? What do I need to know to get what I want to get, like the end result? And she doesn't dye that way. So she is a professional dyer. She sells her own dyed yarns. She sells it in that shop all the time. But the way that she dyes, she takes her yarn and lays it on a flat surface and then sprays the dye onto the yarn with a squirt bottle, and she just kind of layers it up, and she makes beautiful stuff. The colors that she can come up with are fantastic, but then she wraps it in plastic and steams it. And dyeing in and of itself is already, it takes a lot of water, so I try to be conscious of, environmental impact, even though it's just me. I know, it's whatever. And it doesn't really make that much of a difference in the long run. I just can't justify using that much plastic on top of knowing I already have to use, water for the dye, and then the dye pot, and then the rinsing and the washing and whatever else. I just can't. I can't have that much plastic waste. So it's just not going to happen. I'm never going to dye like that. It's not going to happen. So it was fun doing it a different way. It was kind of weird because, dye gets on everything and makes a horrible mess, and we're just in this yarn shop like, woo! We're just spraying dyes everywhere. Shockingly did not make a huge mess. But, I don't know. I went into it I wanted like hard fact answers. Like, here's the equation. Plug in this for A, this for B, that equals C, And she could not give me that. Some things she could. But for the most part, it was more of a you just have to find a place to start and just kind of figure it out. I'm I want you to tell me where to start, and then I can try to figure it out. But I don't know. It was a good class, and it was a lot of fun. And I still haven't gotten my skein of yarn back. I have a feeling they have the wrong email address for me. They spelled my name wrong, and they had my maiden name, which I've been married for 4 years before I even started shopping there. So I'm not sure where they got that from. I really don't know. I should call. But anyway, long story short, lots of fun. Not sure how super helpful it was. I did get some good stuff. So, naturally, I bought more dye, because that's what you do. So I had two 100-gram sections of Perendale fiber undyed for my last order of fiber. So when I order, I generally I go there for Polworth or whatever, and then I just add something I've never worked with before, just as A, free shipping, and B, I just like to try new things. So Perindale's a little rustic. Been working a lot with Merino lately, or Polworth, or Rambouillet, which are all very, very fine, soft clouds of yarn. And then you got Perindale, which is technically a 30 micron count, which is, skin soft. And it is. But compared to the other, it's like, no. So this was my first attempt post dye class. So she did give me a set equation for your dye solution, like a 1% solution, which honestly, after I did it, I was like, oh yeah, it's 1% because it's like 1%, it's like 3 grams to 300 grams of water. Duh. Couldn't figure that out on my own, clearly. So this is what she was working with, There's only so much she could have done anyways. But anyway, so I wanted to see what knowing that I have a 1% solution, what does that look like? Because she was not able to, you always read about depth of shade, and, it's a 5% depth of shade or a 10% depth of shade. So I asked her, like, well, what do you do to take your 1% solution, how does that translate into a 5% depth of shade or whatever? And she's like, well, it just depends. I'm like, right, yeah, I know. What does it depend on, And she wasn't able to give me, like, an easy answer. She basically said you have to figure, when you see it, and you just kind of have to practice and learn. I'm like, but I don't, it's hard because I feel like I don't have any frame of reference for depth of shade, like, at all, other than to say, boy, that's bright, boy, that's bright. So I didn't dilute this at all. So I knew going into it that it was going to be pretty bright, but it was interesting to see how the colors broke out, because this dark color is supposed to be amethyst. So it's supposed to be this, like, much brighter purple, but because it was so concentrated, it turned out to be this really pretty, almost like a mauve color. I really like it, regardless. Now the pink is, fluorescent and blinding, which I should have known going into it. And the yellow, which is also fluorescent, interestingly enough, that color is called champagne, and it's supposed to be a mellow browny yellow, which it's not, because I put way too much on there. But all that being said, I do actually really like it. I mean, it's loud, it's a lot, and I have no idea how it's going to spin up. It could turn into a nightmare, but, like, some sections of it, like, this looks like a sunset. I love that. And it was fun. And so this is like this is a learning experience. I'll probably spin it a little different from what I usually do, just to, like, try a fractal or, I don't know, something different. So we'll see. And the second attempt that I've made since then with my new dyes that I bought a lot of blues and browns. It's on my wheel now. I'm spinning it, and I don't have a sample to show you, but I did take a picture. I'll put it up there. It's the same fiber, and I did about half. So I took my solution and diluted it to about half, and I still think that was a little bit too much, especially for the aqua color that's in there. It is super duper bright. I love it, but it overpowers the other colors, I think, a little bit. And I think maybe if I had, like, less of it in there, it would have made a little bit more sense, but I don't know. Again, it was a practice dye. It's going to be a practice spin. I think usually I take my braid, unbraid it, and I split it directly down the middle the long way, and then I spin end to end in the same direction and apply it together to kind of try to keep light colors with light colors. But I think for this one, I split it in half, and I'm going to spin this first one end to end, and then I think for my other half, I'm going to break it in the middle and spin from the middle to the end, and then the top to the middle, and then apply them together. And just see what happens. If it's hideous, it'll become socks. Everything I spin's super fine anyway, so yeah. I think that's all I got. I feel like I've been talking a lot, even though I didn't feel like I had a lot to say. I do that every time. So now I have to go take some tester pictures, final pictures for the cowl. Get those up on Instagram. And yeah, I put on some makeup and everything. Fancy. Of course, it's really funny. Everybody's putting on like all of their fall gear because, cows are fall pattern. And in the tester group, they're like, it's 95 degrees and I'm wearing jeans and a jacket and all this stuff. So, you have a very small window before the sweat starts, so you have to snap all these pictures. So I am going to do that. The humidity's not bad today, so it shouldn't be awful. I'm going to go on my porch and have a glass of wine, take some pictures, and call it a day. Getting text messages from my girlfriends who are also drinking wine on their porch. It's time. It's time. I hope that you've had a fantastic week wherever you are. Fantastic day. Whatever day you're watching this. Go do something nice for yourself. Knit yourself something beautiful. And I will see you very, very soon. Bye for now.